Brainy Dose presents the biggest regrets people have later in life. Choices are a part of life. They can be insignificant, or they can be life-changing. But either way, most of them come with a degree of uncertainty, which is why choices can be so hard to make. And you can never know for sure what might have been if you had chosen differently. There's always a chance that you'll end up regretting a choice you made, whether it seemed like a simple one, which turned out to be much more complicated, or a difficult one from the start. The biggest regrets in life, though, often have a much greater scope, regretting not a single moment, but how life itself was lived. Here's a list of things people end up regretting the most. Working too much. Working too much at the expense of having a healthy personal life is one of the most common regrets people have. Working hard isn't a bad thing, and putting in the extra effort to further your career doesn't seem too bad. But when you look back at your life, it's unlikely that you will wish you had spent more late nights at the office. Muting real personality. A boisterous, unique personality may not mix well with a corporate job, but that doesn't mean you should always try to hide who you are, just to appease others. Whether just toning yourself down or completely changing your personality to try to match other people's perceptions of you, you're bound to regret it as you age. Breaking up with a true love or getting dumped by them. Our love lives are usually where the biggest regrets lie. Maybe we dumped someone that we wish we hadn't. Perhaps they left us. Many people agonize over what might have been for the rest of their lives, but it's hard to be happy if you're still hung up on lost love. And constantly thinking about what once was takes away the special moments that could be experienced now. Worrying about other people's opinions. It's natural to care about your reputation and what others think of you, but you shouldn't always be worried about other people's opinions. You will regret it. When you're always worrying about what other people think, you will inevitably become a people pleaser. The problem with this is that you can't live life fully, and ultimately, you'll end up sabotaging your success and happiness. Not having enough confidence. Another big regret for a lot of people is not believing in themselves and having low self-confidence. They wonder why they allowed others to influence them and bring them down so much. Maybe it was merely their own negative thinking, or a combination of the two. Once they realize how much better life could have been had they just believed in themselves, regret sets in. Not standing up to bullies in school and in life. Many of our regrets and bitter memories stem from our more formative years as children. Forgive and forget hasn't been learned yet, and memories formed so early are often impossible to shake off, especially memories of times where we did not stand up to those who bullied us. The same applies to adulthood, bullies at work and in public, who we should have stood up to but didn't. We will likely regret it later on. Trying to live up to parents' expectations. Expectations are often hard to live up to, regardless of who they're set by. But when our parents set them, we feel a particular need to fulfill them. Specific rules and implicit expectations are hard to break. We adopt them subconsciously and try to follow them even after we've grown up, because it's what a good son or daughter is supposed to do, and we think it'll make our parents happy. Their happiness is our happiness, or so we think. By the time people realize they didn't live the life they wanted, it's often too late. Taking life too seriously. As weird as it sounds, most people just don't know how to relax and have fun. Too many people go through their lives being too serious and never taking a moment just to joke around and take a load off. By staying so uptight all the time, they miss out on a lot of fun things life has to offer and will eventually end up regretting it. Letting marriage break down. About half of marriages in the US end in divorce, and most people in these situations will tell you it was for the best, and they had their reasons. Of course, some people just aren't compatible, and you shouldn't stay with someone who isn't right for you. However, if you were to talk to divorcees privately, many would say that they secretly regret ending things. It isn't one specific event that marks the end of a marriage. Instead, it's a slow buildup of seemingly innocuous problems. The regret most people have is that they didn't correct those little things along the way. Ignoring intuition. We all have that little voice in the back of our heads that tells us when something is wrong. Of course, everyone has had situations where they didn't listen to it and ended up regretting the choice later. We generally ignore that voice a lot more than we should, either consciously or subconsciously, and often realize later that we should have just listened. Not asking that person out. Anxiety and nervousness often get the best of us, especially at a younger age. You can forgive yourself when you chickened out and didn't ask that specific someone out on a date or to the prom, but that doesn't mean you're going to forget it. You may find yourself decades later thinking about what would have happened if you'd only been brave enough to make a move. Letting friendships fizzle out. People get busy, and with so many things they have to juggle and commit to, from work to family and just finding the time to sleep, it's easy to see why it can be challenging to find time for social interactions. But you should always try to find time for your friends, or you'll come to regret it later. Strong friendships are incredibly beneficial, and they are vital to forming a support system. Having someone to celebrate with, or having a shoulder to cry on is important, and good friends will be there for you in the good times and the bad. When you're going through one of those times and there's no one around, you'll wish you would have tried harder to keep those friendships in your life. Not sharing feelings. In any kind of relationship, not telling the other person how you feel is one of the biggest mistakes you can make. Tell people you love them and how much they mean to you while you still can, because it's almost a guarantee that you'll regret it if you don't. Missing out on the little moments. Though it may not seem like a big deal at the moment, skipping out on things that might not be so important to you but are important to someone else will definitely come back to haunt you. The little moments stick in your memory for you to savor them later. Continually pushing back time spent with your friends and family means you have less of these memories, and you'll wonder where the time went once it's too late to make more. Holding on to grudges. Making amends with those who have wronged us is a major part of trying to cut back on regrets. Staying angry might feel good at the moment, but it will only leave you burned out and wondering later why you held on to that grudge for so long. When we hold on to these grudges, we hurt ourselves as well, even though we might not even remember what we were so upset about in the first place. Not apologizing. Sincerely apologizing to someone and being forgiven is a very good feeling. Because of our pride, however, most people are stubborn and miss out on this opportunity and often regret it later. Not accomplishing more. This is fairly subjective, but a lot of people regret not accomplishing more as they get older. Either they didn't take the chance or just didn't achieve as much as they would have liked to by a certain age. In fact, according to research, 72% of adults regret their perceived failures and not living up to their own expectations and self-image. Not traveling more. A lot of people reveal later in life that they regret not traveling and seeing as much of the world as they wanted to. Maybe it seemed too expensive, or there just wasn't enough time. Whatever the excuse, they kept pushing back their plans until it was too late. Not saving more. It may not seem that important now, but saving extra cash may help you alleviate some regrets in your later years. Money issues, including not saving enough for retirement, are among the biggest regrets people have later in life. Not leaving a legacy. You don't know what people will say about you after you're gone. You can only hope for the best and try to make your legacy a good one. However, most people admit they wouldn't be satisfied with their current legacy if it ended up being their permanent one. Whether you wish you had children, volunteered more, or had just been kinder to others, the thought that people might have less than fond memories of you, or worse, no memories at all, can undoubtedly fill a person with regret. Obviously, there's no way to change the past, and the purpose of this list is not to start a pity party. The question is, what are you going to do moving forward to avoid experiencing these regrets later on? Share your thoughts in comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends so we can keep making them. For more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and remember to click on the notification bell. Also, be sure to check out our other videos as well. Thanks for watching.